Rust is a very fun game, but it's also a very challenging game. And with all challenging games, there comes a meta, and Rust is no exception, obviously. But the meta is not very well defined, and it's also just very complicated in general. And there's some parts of the meta but that I believe aren't being touched on properly in a lot of the content seen, and I don't believe are being touched properly in a lot of the gameplay either due to just raw statistics. So I'm going to go over one of the things in the meta that I don't believe are being used properly, probably just because it's like hidden, you know? Almost like when people say something is hidden OP, and that is the Bradley APC. Bradley, or the Bradley APC, is an AI-controlled vehicle which patrols around Launch Site Monument, and it roams around and shoots players, and sometimes animals, just like the scientists at military tunnels. These two rad towns are alike because they both have elite crates, and those elite crates are the only ways to get the high-tier items like armored doors and launchers, so they have to have an extra PvE element in them to stop people from getting them too easily. Now, the Bradley can be a great, PvE environment effect that can help. You can use them here to your advantage in fights and launch site, and you can use them to your advantage to try and escape people. But he also has, a loot table when you kill him. And this loot table is really, really high tier, and it doesn't give that many of the high tier items, so people tend to believe that it's not worth taking unless you're trying to get like a blueprint or two, and in that case you might as well just run military tunnels or just do the puzzle. However, if you really go over the cost and statistics of Bradley and his drops, you more than likely will be getting far more than you put into him, as well as the PvP which you're bringing to your area where you have the turf advantage. This is the cost to kill Bradley one time. It is 2 timed explosive charge. You're going to need the blueprint for explosive and timed explosive charge. This has nothing to do with any of the gear, or the guns, or the meds, or anything like that. Just the cost for Bradley. And so as you can tell, the most important part of this is the sulfur, in which it is 4,400 sulfur. And if you really care, it could be the tech trash or the charcoal as well. But we're just going to call it 4,400 sulfur, and we're going to see how that cost can be manipulated and how that cost is really refunded by most of the things that you get. The Bradley APC's loot table works in a rather strange way. It has 2 or 3 APC crates with an 80% chance at 3 and a 20% chance at 2. Each crate has 2 rolls, so you'll get 2 different things from it, which each have different percentages. For instance, per roll, there's a 25% chance that you'll get a laser and a 4X, because those two together. Or there's also a 25% chance you'll get an armored door. The M2, which is one of the most common and most wanted things to come out of the Bradley APC, is at a 9% chance per roll, meaning that it'd be 18% per box, or close to 60% per Bradley. That's pretty good odds. You use 4,400 sulfur and you got about a 60% chance of getting an M2, and you could get more. You could get up to 6 M2s, but that would be 1 in about 3,000 Bradleys, which obviously you're not going to take. But that's not all that we really care about here, because one of the things that it can drop is ammo. Just like the helicopter, it'll drop all the ammo types, but it drops them in much lower amounts, exactly half, really. And even if you add up all of those ammo types as shown here, you get almost the price of the entire Bradley just from one crate. One roll from one crate at a 15% chance. But even those pluses aren't why I even consider Bradley to be hidden OP in the Rust meta. It's because of the high quality. You see, not counting the M2, and just counting the other things that you get from Bradley, you are most certain to get at least 200 high quality worth of things from the Bradley. Including the fact that if you mine the Bradley, you get 77 high quality. The 4X scope and laser combo is like 60 high quality. Turrets are another 40. Armored doors 20 or 30. You get guns, you get AKs, you get bolts. And I've done a lot of Bradleys in my day, and by tallying up afterwards every single Bradley I've gotten, I can say that most of them are in the 200 and up to 400 high quality per Bradley. Think about how long it would take you to get 4 stacks of high quality versus how long it would take you to farm 13 sulfur nodes. 13 to 14 sulfur nodes is what it takes to kill a Bradley. 400 high qual, that's 200 metal nodes. What would you rather do? 200 metal nodes, or literally go take a Bradley and then fight the people that come on your own turf where you have time to set up your own positions? I don't understand why people don't do it as much as they do. And it's not even that hard. You don't even have to have a massive group. As you can see here, I did this one solo. I got all the loot, I got an M2, and I even helped some random kid that I found up and gave him some stuff. It's not difficult. And by the way, this was done on Long 2, a week and a half into Wipe when it was at full pop. This is not some random PvE server. This is Long 2, one of the most contested Rustified servers there is. So now that we understand why Bradley is conceptually a good idea and why it's a good thing to take statistically, it's time to start discussing how we're going to take Bradley. So if you're like me and you're solo, the only way you can really take it is from on top of the recycler building, like you've watched me take it, what, 3 times now? But anyway, and one of the best spots to actually stay while you're waiting for people to show up, especially on highly populated servers, is the tower that I'm currently in. This tower is the only climbable radio tower in launch, and it is so out of the way and so unknown that people just do not even think to look at it. And you can sit up there and mow kids down with a suppressed gun and they will have no idea what hit them. It's truly the best spot to be. I've taken close to 100 Bradleys in the past, like 3 months. I've taken like probably 10 or 15 solo on Long 2, and I've been on that tower the entire time, and only once in my entire history of Rust have I been shot at in that tower. And it was by a group called Infamy that rolls 15 deep on the server, and after me fighting them from the top of that tower probably about 15 times, they finally figured out where I was, and it was really funny to see in chat. But anyway, that is one of the best spots that you can sit when you're taking Bradley and when you're defending it. And even if you can get the loot and get up there, you can just hide in plain sight. No one will come get you, and you'll be perfectly fine. Another thing that I'd like to mention as a strategy when you're taking Bradley is the burn barrels in the middle of launch. I have left 10 C4 in one of these burn barrels on Long 2 for 5 days, and it was never taken. And I'd literally go to launch with a set, and I just grab the C4 out of the burn barrel and take Bradley, and nobody's the wiser. They're used so little, especially when a rad town's not in the snow, that no one ever thinks to look at them, and it's just a really great thing overall. It's a great strategy. If you're getting chased, throw your M2 in a burn barrel, and I promise you it will not get taken. That is my guide on the Bradley APC. I didn't focus a lot on the tips and tricks and different things like that to help you take Bradley. I wanted to more go over the bigger picture. I wanted to explain how Bradley fits into the meta, and I wanted to explain why he's worth taking and statistically how great he is to take. And I hope that if enough people see this video, maybe if it gets on the community update, I'll be able to look on the map more and see the little explosion marks on my server because people are understanding how worth it really is to take Bradley, and hopefully I'll be raiding more smaller bases that have M2s because they're, exploiting the fact that Bradley's an actual great addition to the game and it's a great addition to the meta. So I hope that you've learned a few things. I hope that your base gets stacked in high-tier attachments and guns because you've decided to waste 14 sulfur nodes on, 200 metal nodes worth of stuff. And I hope that people come to understand the actual meta of this game because it's really not in plain sight. It's a survival game, and survival games normally don't have a crazy meta. They normally are just doing their own thing and they're fun. But the people who take this game seriously, like me, which is a lot more people than you would think. There are people that roleplay in this game, obviously, and they enjoy their own aspect of that. I know people that only play on PvE servers, and I will never be mad at them for doing so. But the people who play this game and they enjoy making plays, and they enjoy having a stacked base and going out with LRs and M2s and all that, the people who take the game at least somewhat seriously would love these videos, and they would love how to really exploit things in the game to their advantage and actually play the meta. Like any competitive game, it has a meta. This one's just a lot harder to see. And I have almost 7,000 hours in this game, most of which are solo, and I would like to make a lot of these videos to explain some of the deeper material meanings behind things in Rust, and hopefully have more people have a greater understanding of that like I do. I'd like to take a moment to recognize two things. First of all being Striker Productions, which is a YouTube channel that makes a lot of really awesome Rust cinematics. I used a piece of their cinematic at the very beginning of this video. With his permission, of course. I'm going to put his Discord and his YouTube channel link in the description. I really hope you check him out. He's got some amazing cinematic things for Rust. It's amazing how awesome they are. I'll never be able to have something that great. And I'd also like to recognize Rust Labs. I've been with Rust Labs since like the third day it came out. I've put at least 20% of the descriptions and some of the tips on Rust Labs, including the one that I used for Bradley. I did create the Bradley APC thing on Rust Labs, so I'm very proud of that. And I used their craft calculator in this video twice, so I'd like to give them a shout out too. I'll put Rust Labs in the description as well. And that's it, guys. Peace.